If you are receiving this transmission, you are the resistance.
Well, during the 2016 presidential campaign, there were some really startling developments. You had the WikiLeaks emails get released from the DNC and John Podesta, where they talk about spirit cookings, they talk about Marina Abramovich, they talk about having young children in pools for your pleasure. They talk about pizza-related maps. They talk about nut sauce. I mean, you know, all kinds of creepy stuff. And so stuff gets exposed there. And then they try to distract from that by making up other stories that may or may not be true, but then they spin it and distract from that and try to demonize anybody that reports on it. But then you have Laura Silsby, a Clintonite, get caught in Haiti illegally moving children, and then she puts her hands in the air. Oh, no, I have no idea. Whoa. Where did these kids come from? Oh, my God. Well, there were kids following me the whole time? Oh, children, where did you come from? I had no idea. I'm Laura Silsby. I work for Hillary Clinton. I was just moving these children across the border. I didn't even know they were here. Children? What children? Oh, these children. Oh, I have no idea where they came from. I'm Laura Silsby. I work for Hillary Clinton. I'm just smuggling children. I mean, I have no idea what's going on with these children. Oh, so then she gets busted. Oh, but don't worry. She's still cool with Hillary. They're still tight. Then you get exposed. Bill Clinton going on the Lolita Express without Secret Service more times than originally reported. Then Trump gets elected, and you have nationwide pedophile bust. I mean, children being caught, children being rescued from cages, families with like 11 kids tortured in dungeons. I mean, just insane stuff from Florida to California. You got everything that's going on in Hollywood starting to be exposed with the pedophilia and the abuse of women and the actors and actresses in there. And so this is all going on, and the mainstream news ignores it and says that men are the problem, Trump is the problem. And then we'll even tell you in the New York Times and Slate and Salon that pedophilia is not the problem. They're okay. Don't demonize pedophilia. So then all of that comes out. Of course, then the Vatican stuff comes out, and then the gay orgy stuff comes out. Then you have the sex cult stuff come out. Folks, it's all related. It's all related. And you're going to have more whistleblowers start to come forward. We're still working on the guest, guys. What is the current status of the guest? Okay, so we're still working on the guest, but we've got a guest who's going to be joining me to talk about a children's card game, which actually I guess is not just a children's card game. Plenty of adults play it too. Magic the Gathering, but it does have a lot of children that play it, and you know they have these events where you know they'll take a venue, some game store or something like that, and they'll have Magic the Gathering card game events, and it'll be, I guess, sanctioned, if you will. It's probably not the correct term, but for lack of a better term, by Magic the Gathering. And what happens is you get these adults that essentially volunteer to be working these events where all of these kids come out, and it turns out that it's perhaps being infiltrated by some child abusers and even sexual offenders. So my next guest is going to be talking about that, and you know, it's actually funny, Magic the Gathering, that I'm talking about this. I remember this was kind of coming up when I was a kid. I had some friends that played it. I played it a couple times with them, but there was another story just under a year ago about how Magic the Gathering online profiles, like YouTubers and stuff that would blog about Magic the Gathering, how there was like this weird, like conservative liberal battle inside like the Magic the Gathering card fan club, if you will. And so I had people saying, hey, you should look into this. You should look into this. Some people in the Magic the Gathering are going conservative for Trump. They're fighting back against the liberals. And I was just like, well, okay. I mean, you know, it's a card game. You're probably going to have that in any sector of life right now. So I didn't really talk about it. But then this one was interesting. And my next guest, Lou Colagiovanni from unsleevedmedia.com, has all the documentation. And he's going to update me on that as soon as we get him connected. In the meantime, while we're working on that, guys, hey, just come in my ear, if you would. Okay, thank you. Now, people were worried about this. Apparently, this is a tradition, Passover, Easter, whatever have you, in the Gaza Strip. There's just always violence. Hey, war in the Gaza Strip. I know we're all shocked, but it did reach a certain level of escalation and still is today. Palestinians are marching on the Gaza Strip. There's thousands out there. There have been reported drones dropping tear gas. People have died. They're burning photos of Trump as well. So the Gaza Strip is just a war zone right now. It's really sad. Is peace even possible there? I mean, what is harder? Peace in North Korea or peace in the Gaza Strip? Imagine if you had both under Trump. I'm not saying that's going to happen. It's just wild. All right, Lou Colagiovanni is ready to go with me now. You can find him on Twitter at Lou Colagiovanni, unsleevedmedia.com. Now, Lou, thank you for joining me today. So I'm not sure if you heard my introduction. If you could correct me or steer me in the right direction of any of this, but it sounds to me like essentially what you have is you have the Magic the Gathering card game events or tournaments, and they have sanctioned, I'm just using that term lightly, leaders, essentially, adults that show up to try to, organize the event, keep it all organized and make sure everything runs smoothly. But there's no background checks to this. And so you're saying that that's an issue because it turns out some of the people that are getting into the system have a history of sexual abuse.
That's pretty accurate. Myself, my partner, Jeremy Hambley, who owns Unsleeved Media, we've been working on this issue a very long time. Before we started working on the issue, they were allowing their judges, who basically act as referees for the tournaments, to not have background checks. We revealed a lot of individuals who were convicted sex offenders, and that was a good first step. But now it's become apparent that players as well, also, obviously, there's a lot of convicted sex offenders, and I revealed one yesterday, 2 days ago. We've been revealing them constantly, and there is no policy now to prevent this from happening. They do not really enforce. They claim to have a policy, but they only claim to have a policy like an hour before we went on Mike Cernovich's network to do an interview 2.5 months ago. So there are convicted sex offenders all over the Magic the Gathering community, and they're not doing anything about it.
Well, and this is a situation that you could see happening. I mean, this was a card game that really became popular. I remember when I was a kid, probably in like 5th or 6th grade, when some of my friends started playing it. So this has been around for probably almost 20 years. So you've got people that have been playing it for a long time. So you've got people that are, older adults now that still enjoy playing the game. And then you've got, of course, the younger kids that are coming up playing the game. So when you have that situation, it's very, I think, frightening for a parent that might send their kid to a Magic the Gathering tournament if they're concerned, is anybody background checking the referees of this event? I mean, if you want to be a referee at a YMCA or a coach in some youth league, you get a background check. So it would seem like it would be common sense to bring this to Magic the Gathering now, especially considering what you've uncovered.
Right. Well, to be clear, Wizards of the Coast, which is the the owner of Magic the Gathering, they did institute a policy because we forced them to background check their judges, but there hasn't really been much enforcement of that. The individual that I uncovered the other day has yet to be officially banned from their community, even though he was a judge. He was a level 1 judge. His name is James Lynn Littlefield. If individuals want to read my report, they will see that while Littlefield was accused and facing a life sentence in prison, he was judging a Magic the Gathering tournament. I wonder how parents would have felt about that.
And that's not good for Magic the Gathering's image, especially if they find that out and their kid says, hey, I want to go to Johnny to the Magic the Gathering tournament, and they see the story where they're not even background checking the judges and they say no. So that's not good for business. You'd think they want to do something about that. And it sounds like you've spurred that action into motion. So we're going to have more of this on the other side. Again, my guest, Lou Colagiovanni from unsleevedmedia.com. Just, you got to watch out, folks. These child predators are sneaky, and they'll do anything they can to try to get access to your children. We'll be right back. All right, final segment of the week here for myself and the War Room. My guest is Lou Colagiovanni. Unsleevedmedia.com is where you can find his reports on they're working, really doing a great effort for Magic the Gathering, the card game here, to try to weed out child predators who might be trying to infiltrate the system and become referees of these events. But, you know, Lou, my producer, was telling me in the break that you're not just reporting on this, but you're looking at other situations to try to expose child pedophiles that may be trying to infiltrate other groups out there.
Right. I mean, it's a pervasive problem. One of the tenets of individuals who go after children is the inability to socialize as an adult. Not accusing everybody, but you have to, if you look at these type of communities, you're not going to find a place with more type of antisocial, lack of ability to socialize as an adult personalities. So any of these communities, Magic the Gathering, Dungeons and Dragons, et cetera, they're a breeding ground for this. And there's a lot of cases that I have yet to release to the public that I, briefly teased on Twitter that are heinous. And, these companies, they deny that this stuff exists. They deny that this is happening. The Vice President of Marketing and Brand Strategy, Elaine Chase, said that myself and Jeremy Hambley and others were spreading misinformation on the internet. And as you'll see from all the reports published and the stuff that'll be coming out in the future, that is not misinformation whatsoever. It is a fact, and it's an unfortunate fact.
Well, I'll tell you, that usually means you're right over the target when they try to demonize you with claims like that, even though you're just reporting on facts. When they call that misinformation, that usually indicates that you're right over the target. But has anyone else reached out to you? Because there's efforts across this country right now, a lot of veterans, Craig Sawyer is leading a group as well, Vets for Child Rescue. There's a lot of these groups that are trying to, find these pedophiles, that are trying to find different ways to get access to children. Has anyone helped you guys, or are you guys pretty much going at this alone right now?
Well, I have been in contact with individuals that work with Mr. Sawyer, but for the most part, myself and Mr. Hambley are the only people in the world who are looking at this issue, even though there are 20 million players worldwide for Magic the Gathering. And, Wizards of the Coast makes $500 million a year, and they can't find the time, and they cannot find the money to attempt to protect their youngest customers. And, it's shameful. And all I can do is continue to bring out this information to people so other individuals become aware of what's going on, because it's outrageous. It's outrageous.
Well, let me just get this straight. It sounds to me like you're kind of, and I don't want to misappropriate your frustration here, but it sounds like right now it's kind of directed at the creators of the game for not having any sort of a background process. Again, if I want to coach basketball at the YMCA or volunteer to, coach at any youth league, they're going to do a background check. I mean, that's like a given. If you're going to be working with children, you have to have a background check. Why wouldn't they be doing this? I mean, why aren't they? Do you think it's because of money? Do you think they're just that, they're pinching pennies here?
And it's complicated because Wizards of the Coast, listen, they put in a policy to background check their judges, right? That's true. But, hold on. They put in a policy to background check their judges, but they have no policy to background check their players. So, I mean, there's a couple of thousand judges, but there are millions of players, right? I uncovered a guy earlier this month, Timothy Laurie. I literally had him playing Magic the Gathering with a child. I spoke to the child's parents. The parents were outraged, right? It took Wizards of the Coast 14 days to ban Mr. Laurie, even though I gave them all the information. It took him 14 days. And then, if you look at my report, you'll see that they lied about when he was banned. They tried to change the day, as if everybody's stupid, as if we're not watching them 24 hours a day. Like, these people are just, they're trying to cover it up. And
well, but why would they be trying to cover it up? I mean, this is bad for business. I mean, if this gets to the parents of children playing this game, they're not going to send their kids out anymore. I mean, you think for business purposes, they would want to nip this in the butt. I mean, I don't understand. What's the motivation here? Why are they sitting on their hands?
Maybe the motivation is that it's been going on for so long and there've been so many victims and it hasn't been come out in the media that when it does come out, they'll face lawsuits. And, they're protecting their bottom line, right? They make $500 million a year. They can't find the time or the money. I mean, how much money would it really cost to further these background checks, or to institute a policy where players have to pay for their own background check, $10, $15, $20? I mean, they have cards that are worth thousands of dollars in this community, and they can't spend a little money to find out who's a sick bastard and who is not. It's bizarre.
Well, I think that what you're doing is yeoman's work, and I salute you for doing it. And it sucks that you embark on this journey and you can't even get help from the very people at the top who essentially you're trying to protect. I mean, you're putting your neck out there for them, and they're not even willing to reciprocate. But final words here, Lou Colagiovanni from unsleevmedia.com.
Well, the final words, thank you very much for having me on. I apologize for the delay. But
Oh, don't worry about that.
yeah, listen, they have hired, they put out a notice they were hiring a social media investigator, right, to investigate individuals of their community who say things that are unkind. That's part of the problem with these people, right? My partner, Jeremy Hambley, has been banned for life for saying, unpopular opinions. But they won't take the time to ban players or look for players who've been convicted of sexual offenses against children, right? That's the type of people we're working with right now. Why? I don't know. I don't work there. If I worked there, it wouldn't be like this.
And you're doing the work to try to help them out. So thank you so much, Lou Colagiovanni, for trying to protect the children that play Magic the Gathering, and thank you for coming on with us today.
Thank you very much, sir.
All right, so there you go. There goes Lou Colagiovanni from unsleevedmedia.com. We've got about 3.5 minutes left here. And I'm just going to retouch on some of these news stories because they're so important. Oh, by the way, the Dow closes at over 24,000 for the weekend. So it was able to recover from the record losses last week, and it's back up over 24,000. So Jeff Sessions may have a pulse after all. He has appointed a federal prosecutor, John Huber, to evaluate the abuses at the FBI and the DOJ when it comes to obtaining warrants, which was eventually led to spy on the Trump campaign. So we've got John Huber looking into that. You also have the Office of the Inspector General at the DOJ launching a review of the activity at the FBI and the DOJ when it comes to obtaining those spy warrants as well. Plus, we are expecting the release of the Inspector General report of the review they've already done into the abuses of the FISA court. We're expecting to get that soon. So it's all coming down. We know what the Obama administration was doing. We know what Hillary Clinton did. And then she goes around to all these universities and she does her little speech and she blames Trump and she blames the white man and she blames the weak woman. And then she blames everyone but herself. And it's all her fault. And she shouldn't even have run to begin with. This is a woman who can't even walk down a flight of stairs. She has to wear seizure glasses. She coughs up goblets of gunk because she's so sick into a cup. She can't even stop coughing, and they wanted her to be president. How do you think Hillary Clinton would be dealing with North Korea right now? What do you think Hillary Clinton would be doing about the Middle East? You know what she would do? She would just bomb the hell out of all of them because she doesn't have the mental capacity to think her way out of this problem that she probably got us into to begin with. Her and all of her cronies with the Brennans and the Clappers. Oh, and the Susan Rices. And now she's on the board of Netflix. Oh, great. So now Netflix is going to have an Obama show and Susan Rice is on the board. Do you want to destroy yourself, Netflix? Because you're heading in that direction. Hey, we talked about man-made climate change, which is a made-up narrative by the left. The book is The Politically Incorrect Guide to Climate Change by Mark Moreno. That's a must-read, okay? Man-made global warming. They're literally flying jets around the planet, spraying chemicals into the air, spraying lithium, spraying aluminum, spraying barium. They report it in NASA. They report it. It's called geoengineering. They admit they do it in Russia. They admit they do it in China to cause rain or stop rain. And then they say you're causing climate change because you drive a car or fly on a jet when governments in Russia and China are literally geoengineering, spraying clouds, cloud seeding. But you're the bad guy because you drive a car. What a load. And then the liberals will tell you they don't want to come for the Second Amendment. They don't want to come for your guns. While they introduce this legislation, H.R. 5087, assault weapons ban of 2018, whole list of guns on here they want to ban, while the former Supreme Court justice writes the opinion in New York Times, repeal the Second Amendment. Oh, we don't want to repeal the Second Amendment. We just want to take all of your guns. We don't want to repeal the Second Amendment. We just write op-eds about repealing the Second Amendment. We don't actually want to do it, though. No, that's just what we say and do. No. You can't trust what we say or do. We're liberals. So don't take us for our word. Folks, please support us at InfoWarsStore.com. Huge specials, 50% off Cellforce, 50% off the Real Red Pill, 50% off Myco ZX Plus, $50 off Alexa Pure Breeze, Take advantage of $50 off Alexa Pure Breeze before it sells out. That does it for us for the weekend. Happy Good Friday. Happy Easter. You stay classy, Info Warriors.
If you are receiving this transmission, you are the Resistance.
Infowars Life Brain Force Plus is our #1 selling product by leaps and bounds, and for a good reason. Going back about 5 years ago, we did research on what top-selling nootropics were, what were most popular, what were best, what people liked, and we made it even stronger. Then we cut the price because leading competitors have 5 to 7 times markup. We only have 150%, and then it helps fund our operation. Well, now it's 50% off. That means we've got a 25% markup, and we've got it paired with the Real Red Pill that takes about 7 days to kick in. Brain Force takes about 30 minutes. But the two go together. It's the Mind and Body Challenge. They're both 50% off individually, or together they're 50% off and free shipping with the combo at InfoWarsLife.com. But it's got to end in a couple days because both of these bestsellers are about to sell out. InfoWarsLife.com to get your Brain Force Plus and Real Red Pill today.